Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
His family said the former Joint Chiefs Chairman and Secretary of State died of complications from COVID-19. Powell had been fully vaccinated, the family said, as they announced, "We have lost a remarkable and loving husband, father, and grandfather, and a great American." Powell spent 4 decades in service to the country. His 2003 speech at the United Nations helped move the U.S. toward war in Iraq. Powell later called the speech a great intelligence failure.
Yep. Colin Powell passed away at age 84 today. There's a guy who came from nothing. I mean, you look at his life, born in Harlem, New York, to Jamaican immigrants, 1937, and he went from nothing and became the highest ranking up until Vice President Harris, African-American, along with Condoleezza Rice. And just a brilliant man, but haunted by Iraq, haunted by that speech that people will talk about today, that speech that, for all intents and purposes, at the UN led us into that horrible situation in Iraq, but a brilliant man. And in situations where you look at people, you got to look at the whole body of work. I think too often we don't look at the whole body of work as a human being because we're focusing on one thing or two things, or in this politically charged and woke world, we focus on certain things that don't, we don't look at the whole body. It's like we don't do that in life, right, anymore. Now it's like we don't want to look at the whole body. We're just like, well, it's this. Right? So somebody said something or jokes or tweets something that somebody doesn't like, we're going to get rid of them. We can't look at the whole body of work. We can't look at their entire life. We look at a singular thing and base that judgment on, boom, that singular thing. Colin Powell, the last couple of years, he was a super outspoken against Donald Trump, called him a national disgrace. Outspoken in more than, well, quite frankly, a few ways, voted for Hillary and voted for Joe Biden. Talked about the Constitution and why he did that. But, he was, again, a complicated situation because for all of the things that he did, and there was a lot, that still haunted him. That speech at the UN, all of those things. He, again, 2003, he reiterated support for the invasion of Iraq. But you got to look at the whole man, where he went from, what he became, how he got to where to where he was powerful. The fact that he was thinking about running for president, and that people were excited about that. A brilliant man, but like everything, had the moments. And he talked about the failure of the intelligence and what took place with the intelligence. And that was, I think we can all look back. I never knew why we went in there. I never did. I never knew why we went into Iraq. I always thought to myself, what's he going in Iraq? What are we going to Iraq for? What's in there? Well, he's got weapons of mass destruction. Of course he does. We sold it to him. Duh. Of course he does. I mean, they may not be there anymore, but he keeps crazy in. What do we care? Right? He pisses off Iran when we need him to. We have more than on a few occasions supported him in pissing off Iran. So what do we care? As long as he keeps crazy in. They just tell him that. Dude, keep crazy in. Remember when you left? Yeah, what happened? We kicked your ass. What happened then? You went back? Fine. Keep crazy in. That's how dictators survive. You keep crazy in. When crazy leaves, then we got to come. But Colin Powell and that entire intelligence debacle was something that he talked about to the day he died. He lived with that because no matter how good he was elsewhere, people always reminded him, you were a big part of this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Just love talking to each and every one of you. It was funny over the weekend. I toned stuff down. I don't do social media over the weekend. I don't care to do social media over the weekend. Quite frankly, I don't even know if I would participate in social media outside of the show. And partly because, and I've got some other people that work on the Facebook for me, but it's just because, it's the chaos and craziness. This new poll out today talking about social media. And so this is Gen X, it's all everyone else. So social media. I'm addicted to all social media, Facebook, Instagram. It goes through it all. Gen X, 42%. Facebook, 42%. Instagram, 31% for Gen X. All 28% on social media, 30% on Facebook, 28% on Instagram. Now, life was better before social media. 64% of people say that. 64% of people say that. Do I think it's better? No, I like social media to a certain extent. But I've also, at a point in my life, realized where social media is all about. Social media, and I told my uncle this the other day. Truth doesn't sell. Facts don't sell. Chaos, craziness, loud voices sell. Conflict sells. Truth doesn't. Truth, for all intents and purposes, is boring. It is. It's boring. I know that sounds weird, but, this weekend I was sitting there thinking to myself, because, I watch a few things here and there, but mostly it's just usual stuff on the weekends. I'm hanging out with the family, hitting some golf balls, watching, we're doing some Halloween stuff, and had lunch with Anthony, my producer, who's on his way. He's on the Vagabond kind of, Beto-esque kind of traveling the world tour, and stopped by, and we had breakfast. But it is so funny because truth to me is important. It's the most important thing. But in a world where nobody cares about the truth, we're more interested in conflict. That's sad. And that's what we are interested in. We're interested in conflict. We're interested in the arguments. We're interested in the fights. We're interested in those things. We're not interested in the truth because truth can last a minute and then be gone. Jon Stewart was on with Jake Tapper talking about the fact that they promote CNN, the conflict, as much as anybody.
And so everybody wants to talk about, like that question you said about gender neutral. I can't remember what you said, gender neutral
sections in toy stores. It's a law that the governor just passed and signed into law.
But honestly, like that law, like who gives like it's, do you know what I mean? Like in terms of the importance of the running of California, yeah, it's a law. Who's it really going to impact? It reminds me of, somebody said to me that they were upset the other day that things had gotten so out of hand. Oh, Demi Lovato wanted to be referred to as they. That was the pronoun that Demi Lovato wanted to use. And this person went, this is just, it's out of hand. And I said, well, I've got really good news for you then. You don't know Demi Lovato. So you're never going to have to really be in this situation.
Which is true. You probably don't know Demi Lovato. Now, you will be in this situation because the younger generation is coming out and they're working and they're doing things like that. So you're going to be in positions where you're going to have to understand pronouns and things like that. That's why it is somewhat important. But it is the conflict of it all, like with Chappelle. It is the conflict of all of that stuff that matters more than anything else. It's not the truth. None of it's about the truth. It's about being the loudest. It's about clickbait. It's about headlines that are ridiculous to get you to pay attention, because in a world of people being essentially paid by views, by clicks, by shares, that matters more than anything. And it's sad. And that's why when I see why my generation, Gen Z, thinks that, hey, you know what, this would be better if we didn't have social media. The sad thing is it's not social media's fault. It's our fault for continuing to promulgate this insanity of pushing out BS and lies because it makes a certain group of people feel good on both sides, and none of it's true, and none of it really matters. When you're trying to put food on the table, does that really matter? No. When you're trying to put food on the table, does it really matter at all? What this person over here in social media is screaming? No. What CNN or Fox are plastering about, gender equality and pronouns? No. But it gets people to pay attention because they're not interested in anything other than making sure they make that buck. That's understandable. To them, that matters the most. Just like to you, making that dollar matters. So much of this is our fault. We stopped caring about the truth because we enjoy conflict more. At least we find it more entertaining. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. All right. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. You will love your Raycons when you get them, and you need to get some. First of all, can I just say this? There is zero worries about getting them for Christmas. Yeah. No worries. They're going to arrive. So if you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, maybe I should get some Raycons because, well, why, Chad? Because they're the best earbuds around. No stems, no wires, better sound quality and bass. 3 different settings now that you can work on top of all the other stuff to control the audio and the sound quality. The best noise isolating fit and a price that is, in many cases, more than half of what you would pay elsewhere. They start under $70 and they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee. Get your Raycons now. You're going to love them. Perfect time for the holiday season. An amazing case that it comes with that gives you up to four charges before you have to plug it back in. And they have wireless charging available. BuyRaycon.com/Chad saves you 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Received a tweet from his family. He was at Walter Reed Medical Center, died from complications of COVID, though he was fully vaccinated. Colin Powell served every American president since Ronald Reagan through George W. Bush. He was the first African-American Secretary of State.
And that'll be the big thing. Not that he was the first African-American of state. Not that he was the first African-American who was an advisor to a president. Not that he was any of those things. First African-American joint chief. It'll be he was fully vaxxed and he died. That'll be it. That will be the thing that is put out. He's 84. Okay? He was 84 years young. He lived a hell of a life. And like everybody who gets to be in and around 70s and 80s, there's times when they have issues. And he did. But that will be the big story. People will be running with it all day off, ha, look at that. If you get fully vaccinated, this is what's going to happen to you. It's so funny. Why? Because that sells more than anything else. That's the stuff that sells. I just can't do it. I can't. It's never been my thing. I just can't be that guy that goes out there and screams and yells and says, let's, throw out crazy, amazing BS to get people to pay attention. Some people can, better than I. And that's not why I wanted to do this show. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Issues still with the supply chain. And, last week, I took Pete Buttigieg, who's the transportation secretary, to task because the administration was celebrating the fact that he was taking time off to be with his new baby. And I said, no, it's not what you do. Sorry, you didn't sign up for that. That's not this job, right? If you're an accountant, that's that job. If you are a person who has a regular job, that's your job. This job ain't that job. Doesn't mean you don't spend the first day there. But some jobs, that ain't the job. That job is, you didn't sign up for that. You signed up for a job that's 24/7, especially in a time like this. And let's be real, the transportation secretary, is it really a 24/7 job? No, probably not. But in the occasion and the time that we're living in with the busted up supply chain, that's that job.
The Port of Los Angeles is averaging around 900,000 containers per month, with no signs of incoming ships slowing down. But even if they are lucky enough to get into the port, they sit and wait. It's taking 3 times longer to clear vessels at the ports compared to before the pandemic. And the Long Beach port is already working 24/7.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening. Now, I know Pete Buttigieg came out and spoke.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says his department is working with state DMVs to speed up the approval of commercial driver's licenses for truckers, but he acknowledges more needs to be done. One senator is now calling for Secretaries Raimundo and Buttigieg to testify on Capitol Hill about the supply chain issues.
Yeah, and they're probably going to have to. But there's a lot of reasons for it. But here's the thing. At this point in time, your job is to figure out how you fix the problem, even if it's a temporary fix, especially with this time of year being so vital to businesses. This time of year is the businesses that make hay. Over the weekend, went in and we had breakfast with Anthony. Producer Anthony was on his way to, I think he's in Austin. He was driving to El Paso. I was talking to the people that were working there. I said, it was like a Cracker Barrel because I live out in the middle of nowhere. Don't have a lot. So to choose from. And I said, how short are you guys? And they said 35 people, to where we need to be during regular times, not during the holiday time when so many people come out here and the snowbird time. 35 people. She says, do you want a job? And I said, I have several. I don't need another one, but I appreciate the offer. Food was delicious. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Former President George W. Bush called Colin Powell a, quote, great public servant and a family man and friend who was highly respected at home and abroad. Bush said he and his wife Laura are deeply saddened by Powell's death. Powell served as Secretary of State during the Bush 43 administration and served as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during the presidency of George H.W. Bush. The former president said in a statement that Powell was such a favorite of presidents that he twice earned the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor.
Yeah, he passed away at age 84 years old. COVID complications, part of it. He was vaccinated. And, his legacy will be looked at. And let's see how that legacy is. I think the left-leaning media and the media in general, because remember when Colin Powell and Schwarzkopf really became the soldiers back in the day were kind of quiet. You didn't really know who they were, right? You'd see them every once in a while, but there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle. And then when the first Iraq war happened, right, they invade Kuwait. All of a sudden, Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell are thrust into the limelight. And you have these two powerful leaders who are the face of beating back, this ragtag bunch of God knows, poor SOBs who, they go and invade Kuwait, and then they find out, well, this isn't going to happen the way they thought, right? They're surrendering to us. But they were the face of it all. And CNN had them everywhere. They were all over the place because this was really kind of the start of what was becoming this 24-hour news thing. There was MSNBC, Fox, what? Huh? No, it was this. From there, he grew. He grew in many different ways. Secretary of State. He gave the speech at the UN, eventually led to the invasion of Iraq, which he called the great intelligence failure of his lifetime. But today they're going to talk about him, and I think the left-leaning media, some will tweet about it, and you'll hear about it. Let me tell you what you're going to hear about. You'll get the usual left-leaning lunatics who say he was a war criminal. Thank God he's dead. You'll get that. Then you'll get the people out there who will defend him in the sense of, they'll make them and their defense of him the story. And I just look at the guy and I look at the whole body of work, what he was as a human being, as a person who I think when you ask somebody, he is born in Harlem to immigrant parents who builds this career, retires as a 4-star general, first African-American to serve as an advisor, first African-American to be Secretary of State. I mean, you see what he did. And yes, was that a debacle? Yes. Did he live with that nightmare? He absolutely did. As did everybody else who participated and thought that was a good idea. Based on, when people say, well, we got the intelligence wrong. No, we didn't need to do it. But you watch the way this is played out. It'll be played out in two ways. There'll be crazy people on the left who will tweet out he was a war criminal. Thank God he's dead. It'll be some professor somewhere. You're going to get that. And then over there, you're going to get other people out there that will defend the hell out of them and talk about what a scumbag those people are. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, you guys are making this about you. But I think the media will treat him in a much different way. And partially because I think some of it was helped by the fact that he was not a fan of Trump. Voted for Hillary. We won't hold that against him. I didn't care that you didn't vote for Trump, but just Hillary, really? And voted for Biden. Called Trump a disgrace. You watch how this plays out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So, all that being said, as we roll around and do our thing, over the weekend, Bari Weiss was on with Brian Stelter because she's like, hey, can I go in front of an audience? It's, 8 people. And she was on over the weekend talking to Brian Stelter. And if you guys don't know who she is, she was brought in after Trump won the election to the New York Times because they were flabbergasted that people outside of Manhattan didn't feel the way that they did. They were flabbergasted that people in Los Angeles felt the same way that they did in New York, but didn't feel the same way in the other parts of the country. They couldn't understand it. So they bring her in, right? So she comes in and they're like, hey, go out there, find out what these people are like, find out what it is about Trump and what is this populism and why not her? I mean, she's everything. She's the bastion of brilliance. She's all of this stuff. That's the way we portrayed her. I mean, why is it that she didn't become president, but why did he become president? And she's like, yeah. But at the end of the day, she got blasted out of the New York Times because they were never going to give her any opportunity. Because they're like, we're more interested in you just telling us, and then we'll make her up our own mind of how bad we dislike these people. But she was on over the weekend talking about the BS that goes on in media.
When you have the chief reporter on the beat of COVID for the New York Times talking about how questioning or pursuing the question of the lab leak is racist, the world has gone mad. When you're not able to say out loud and in public that there are differences between men and women, the world has gone mad.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I mean, you can't. No, you can't. You can't say there's differences between men and women anymore. It's everybody's the exact same. In fact, there's 12,000 genders if you'd like. No, it's not. We're all different. That's just the reality of it. And people are not happy about saying stuff like that. The world has gone mad. But this goes back to the insanity of what we've been talking about all morning. When you could scream and yell, it's not about the truth. Now, some people are trying to shape certain things and make things truth that aren't. But for a lot of these businesses, the media business, it's about making sure that you've got listeners, followers, all of those things, because that's part of business, right? That's part of business. is getting people to watch you, is getting people to listen to you. People ask me all the time, who do I watch? Who do I listen to? I love Breaking Points. So you've got Sager and Crystal. They're on in the morning. They used to be on the Hill. They do a hell of a job. One's liberal, one's conservative. They bring you all the news in a real way and talk about real issues. That matters. And I can say, and I can trust them. Because I feel like they're, if I go and do the research, they're pretty much spot on. But are they super exciting? No, they're not.
When we're not allowed to acknowledge that rioting is rioting and it is bad, and that silence is not violence, but violence is violence, the world has gone mad. When we're not able to say that Hunter Biden's laptop is a story worth pursuing, the world has gone mad.
Remember that? So, Hunter Biden, laptop, that wasn't real. Couldn't be real. Right? It's just fake news. And if you posted it in certain places, they took you down and said that went against their policy because you're spreading fake news, only to find out it was true. No apology, but it doesn't matter. You go and look over here and you're like, hey, if you call Wuhan lab, hey, maybe there's an issue here. That's racism. Right? That's right. Well, can't talk about that. That's racism. Well, maybe it's not racism. Maybe we're trying to find out the truth in something, but you're continuing to push BS because you've got skin in the game when it comes to the politics that you enjoy. So you're going to control the editorial side of it. And that way, but even if you do it on the social media side of things, that's insane. Can't do that. Can't even ask the question, which the beauty is asking certain questions. She's right about that. And the scary thing is why it matters on this side of stuff is because if you can't have questions that may go against what mainstream establishment media want, that's not good. Because when they control the stories the way that they do, and they love conflict because conflict sells, understandable, but when they can control so much of the narrative, that's when it gets scary. And you wonder why people go into conspiracy theory mode is because when you're trying to hide certain things, that's when people start asking certain questions and they feel like they're getting a runaround. So in their mind, well, it's got to be because of this.
When in the name of progress, young school children, as young as kindergarten, are being separated in public schools because of their race, and that is called progress rather than segregation, the world has gone mad. There are dozens of examples that I could share with you and with your viewers. And you
often say
everyone
allowed.
Everyone sort of knows this. And
you say we're not allowed, we're not able.
Between...
Who's the people stopping the conversation? Who are they?
You, CNN. You. Remember Russia. You pushed 4 years of BS. 4 years of stuff where the FBI and CIA said this thing is crap. You know it's crap. None of it's good. But you continued to push it. MSNBC, everybody else. You made a story out of something that was insane. And you bought into it because it was good for business. So you didn't care because you know that the audience you have, no matter what you do or say, they're going to stick with you for the most part. But you were the one who continued to push this. MSNBC, Fox does the same thing on the right. Those damn emails. Yeah, were there something there? Absolutely. But, it was good for the audience. But at the end of the day, were you ever going to get anything you really wanted out of it? No. This is the kind of stuff that you watch and you go, okay, where do I find real stories? Where do I find real things? How do I find real things that matter to everyday people? It's hard anymore. And part, again, I go back to it's us. We continue to push crap because we consume crap. If you're interested in stuff that's real, it's available. If you're interested in stuff, like last week is a perfect example of even CNN lying about the fact that they said, we never said that about Joe Rogan. You did. You completely did. There's tape. Wasn't me. There's tape. And that's why it's frustrating. Nobody's interested in the truth. Nobody really wants to hear anything. You believe the thing was stolen, the election was stolen, so you're going to believe it, and none of it's going to be anything other than that whatsoever. If you believe that that Russia happened, you're going to believe that Russia happened no matter what happens. All of this, that's where we are now. And the more that we play this game of not giving people the truth and running and just going and serving a certain group, you're going to get that. But eventually the groups are getting bored. And you're seeing that more and more. Look at the numbers on cable news. They've collapsed. Minus a few people. People are looking for other things. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to have fun. They want to learn some stuff. Outside of that, they're not interested in the BS much anymore. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. My wife said last night, she said, Doodle. Because people have no idea how close you were to getting put to sleep. And I joke about that because it was true. Doodle was so awful because of his hips. And it wasn't anybody's fault. He was older. When we adopted him, we thought he was much younger. We were told he was much younger. We started getting him K9 VitaSmart from Rough Greens, which is a supplement, goes on top of your dog's food. And the incredible change in him is beyond noticeable within the first couple of weeks. But now here we are 18 months later. I'm waiting for that stuff to go away, right? Almost 19 months. I'm like, it can't last forever. It's lasting and then some. We give it to our puppies. Their coats are perfect. It's allergy season. Normally this time of year, they're itching and they're none of that stuff. It's K9 VitaSmart. All you have to do is go to ruffgreens.com/Chad. You go there. It's simple and easy. You try it for free. You cover the cost of shipping. They're going to send you a bag of Rough Greens for free. Cover the cost of shipping, get a bag for free. ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, bud!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Michael Myers is alive. Halloween Kills delivered a better-than-expected $50.35 million debut.
We fight.
That's not only good enough to grab first place from No Time to Die, it's both the best horror film debut and R-rated movie debut of the pandemic era.
A most unspeakable charge has been brought against you.
It's a disappointing fifth-place bow for the all-star medieval drama The Last Duel, just $4.8 million there.
I spoke the truth.
Yeah, because it's awful. I didn't see it, but I'm just sitting there going, really? Like, what did I read this weekend? This shows that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck should never, ever write a movie together. It's like you had that one, boom, just lightning in a bottle. That's it. Celebrate it. If it's going to be about Boston, okay. But outside of that, But Halloween Kills exactly is what it did. $50.4 million. And think about this. Think about this. It was also on, was it Paramount Plus or Peacock or one or both? So it was streaming at home as well as in the theater. So when you see some of these other things, like you're not getting the Bond movie at home. You're not getting Carnage at home. This was streaming in both ways, and it still kicked ass. And I'm sure on a budget that was probably no more than 25, 30 million, maybe 40 million. 20 million was the budget for the movie. That is insane. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Over the weekend, I watched a football. Now, I know, Producer Phil, you could not watch football because you were very, very busy traveling out to beautiful Orlando, and you tried to watch football. But for me, I did watch football. Had my picks. Tell you guys, I'm on fire right now. Doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Had the Bucs Thursday night. Had the Jags. I picked the Jags to get their first win. I lost. The Panthers almost got a victory after sucking for most of the game. Then I got the Ravens, Rams, Colts, Chiefs, Packers, Bengals. I lost the Browns. I thought the Browns were going to do better at home. Cowboys, Raiders, Steelers. Tonight I have the Bills. I lost 2. I'm 11-2 this week. So far I'm 62-31. That's pretty damn good. I was pretty stoked. Not going to lie to you. Just going to throw some money out there. It's fun watching football over the weekend. A little college football. Enjoyed that. But yesterday, NFL was really good. Cowboys look the real deal. They do. They look the real deal. So does Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They took apart the Chargers. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Check out Getter, Gettr. We're also there as well. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Colin Powell was a professional soldier for 35 years, rising to the rank of 4-star general. He served as national security advisor to President Reagan.
So the last year and a half of my time in the White House was with President Reagan. Became an extremely close and strong relationship.
Then, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under President Bush, he oversaw Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
We have not been targeting Mr. Saddam Hussein. The purpose of our bombing facilities in the area of Baghdad is essentially to go after the command and control.
Powell Doctrine called for clear political objectives and popular support for military operations, along with decisive and overwhelming force. President George W. Bush named Powell Secretary of State.
Our alliances are as strong now as they ever have been, and they are as needed now as they ever have been.
Powell's 2003 speech at the United Nations helped garner support for the U.S. war in Iraq.
Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction.
Earlier this year, Powell called the speech a great intelligence failure. Powell was born in New York in 1937 and raised in the South Bronx by Jamaican parents. He died of complications from COVID-19, though he was fully vaccinated. In a statement, his family called Powell a remarkable and loving husband, father, grandfather, and a great American.
Yeah, he was all of those things. And he was a human being. And you got to look at all of the stuff, right? When you talk about people that were in a position that he was in, you have to look at everything, the entire body of work. And some people out there will point out today, well, he's a war criminal because of all that took place in Iraq, and we should never have been in there. Others will, tweet horrible things about him, and then there's going to be others who know the truth. And that haunted him until the day that he died. And this is Lloyd Austin, who is, somebody who looked up to him, a leader in his own right. And when you look at somebody who's the Secretary of Defense and who's also an African-American, and you look and you see that here was a guy who went from nothing to become something, and what a great leader he was. And remember, he was so big. In World War II, you had generals that were larger than life, right? That were heroes. You knew who they were. We really knew who anybody was during, like we were talking about the same thing in Korea and Vietnam, not so much comparatively to what this became because of CNN and Schwarzkopf and Powell and all of the things that was just really emerging in the world of 24-hour news cycle. And there CNN was, and there was Colin Powell and Schwarzkopf, and they're bored, and they're pointing, and they're doing press conferences, and they've became the face of something.
The world lost one of the greatest leaders that we have ever witnessed. Alma lost a great husband, and the family lost a tremendous father. And I lost a tremendous personal friend and mentor. He has been my mentor for a number of years. He always made time for me, and I could always go to him with tough issues. He always had great counsel. We will certainly miss him. I feel as if I have a hole in my heart just learning of this just recently.
Yeah. So, a brilliant man. Again, look at the entire body of work. And yes, that 2003 speech, that he gave at the UN, which was kind of the catalyst for going in, was what some people remember. I remember a man who I met a couple times, just very gracious and had a presence, and it was he was a just a brilliant man and very measured, and you could see that through the military. There was no panic in any of his stuff, and he looked and he lived in a way where he thought this is what's best, even though for some it won't be popular. And that's what being a leader is all about. Being able to look at stuff and say, you know what? This right here is what's best for the company, for the family, for the church, for the city, the state, or the country. And it may not be popular. It may not be popular. And it was one of those things that he did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Here is the excitement that is coronavirus. Now, everybody's trying to figure out, what do we do with coronavirus? What do we do with the coronavirus? Should we? Shouldn't we? Holidays are here. Should we be able to trick or treat?
With trick-or-treating and the holidays right around the corner, Dr. Fauci urging everyone who's eligible to get vaccinated.
If you're vaccinated and your family members are vaccinated, you can enjoy Halloween, trick-or-treating, and certainly Thanksgiving with your family and Christmas with your families.
But still, there are approximately 66 million unvaccinated Americans, and vaccine mandates continue to cause controversy. The Seattle Police Department, already understaffed, could lose more officers once a vaccine requirement goes into effect Monday.
Yeah. And there's lots of that going on, right? Tons of issues, not just there. California apparently has 40% of state workers are not vaccinated. Illinois.
This standoff appears to be far from over with no immediate solution in sight. The department issuing a memo reminding those officers who do not comply that they could lose their jobs.
Yeah, but are you going to? Are you going to? Then you have mandates when it comes to schools and parents.
In California, where Governor Newsom issued a vaccine mandate for children in schools that will likely not go into effect until 2022, some parents are planning to keep their kids home today in protest.
We want them to know that we are serious.
All this as newly released numbers from the CDC show that back in August, the unvaccinated were 11 times more likely to die from COVID during the Delta surge than those who were vaccinated.
Not a shocker. Not a shocker. That's why would anybody be shocked about that? Remember, this is not a vaccine the way that we would think of vaccines, right? You take a vaccine, you think, I'm never going to take this again, or maybe, in 10 years, you have to go back and get another shot. But the reality is, this is a shot that will provide you more than ample protection in blocking you from getting it. And should you happen to get it, the reality is it will be asymptomatic, or you'll have very, 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 very small symptoms unless you're much older and you already have several comorbidities. Then there's always a chance. And that goes with everything. Right? If you have the flu and you have several comorbidities, there's a chance you could die. So let's not forget that. The vaccine, shot, whatever, I call it a shot. It works, right? I mean, it's great that we have all these treatments, and that's fantastic. And I've always said the treatments were the next giant jump in treating this thing to the point where the endemic is now exactly that. It's an endemic. We don't change our lives. We just move on with our lives, and we get on with it. But the reality is, at this point in time, it's time to get back out there and live. And the people that aren't vaccinated understand the risk. They're willing to take the risk. So why should we care at this point? Not that we want anybody to die, but at the same time, they're fine with it. If you're fine with it, shouldn't we all be fine with it? Probably not. And then the holiday questions are coming up. And that is going to be the next great battle, which is, what do we do for the holidays? Could people do holiday stuff? Because they're going to turn to some people and ask, can we be able to do holiday stuff?
If you can, do what's called a soft quarantine. So if you know you're going to be gathering, maybe lay low a little bit for a week or so before you go, get tested 1 to 3 days before, and then on the back end, also kind of lay low, get tested 3 to 5 days after, just in case you get one of those breakthrough infections, you're not exposing others. This is really where you want to think of those around you.
Okay. Well, that's zero issue with that. Go ahead. I mean, if you're going to, are people really going to do that? I mean, are you going to go, all right, I'm going to go see my family in 2 weeks. So starting next Thursday before I leave, or next Wednesday, I'm going to do a soft quarantine, whatever that is. And then when I get back, I'll test myself it all sounds great. This is what you should do. Here's the reality. If you don't feel sick, you're going to go. There it is. That right there is the reality of it.
No one has a crystal ball. So many people want to read into the tea leaves and say this fourth surge was the worst and it's now behind us. But I think now we are finally in a situation where we can say we now know how to live with this virus. Yes, there'll be ups and downs. It's not going to be like a light switch or a line in the sand where we're finished with it.
But do we know how to live with it? See, knowing how to live with it, yet being allowed to live with it are two separate things. Dr. Jennifer Ashton there. Knowing how to live with it. Yeah, we know how to live with it, right? You go, you get your shot, you make sure that you do what you can to get fit. And I will say this. I went this weekend, we're eating breakfast, and I look around the room, and it's like, it's diabetes everywhere. I mean, it was crazy. And very few people, I'm sure, do anything. I try to walk at least 10, 12,000 steps a day. This morning I get in, I've got my bands and my weight sets, and I work out here in the morning. I try to work out as much as possible. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I try to keep as fit as possible. Does it mean I'm perfect? No. But I will tell you this. There's a lot that goes into living with this thing, and some of it is changing who we are and the way that we eat, how we consume, calories in, calories out. Some of that, it's going to be crazy. It is. But knowing how to live with it and then actually being allowed to live with it are two separate things. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield. Hey, lose-lose situation is what? Dealing with car repairs. You lose your money, you lose your time. We know that sucks. Let me tell you something. I get so frustrated when I lose time, because that's the one thing in the world you don't get back. Just one repair can bleed you dry. How many times have you gone to the point where you're like, I got a little money in the bank, I feel like I'm doing okay, and boom, something goes on. Check-ins, you're like, oh, God. That's where Car Shield comes in, because they save you time, they save you money. That's what they do with my family, myself. They'll do it with you. Taking care of cover repairs with the Car Shield administrators is super easy. They handle the paperwork, expensive payments, so you don't have to. No hassles, no headaches. Seriously, I'm telling you guys this right now. Car Shield could save you thousands. Thanks to my protection plan, I don't have to worry about any expensive repairs. And the beauty of it is you have a chance to get rental coverage, trip reimbursement, roadside assistance, coast to coast. Coast to coast. That's what Car Shield's all about. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield, America's #1 auto protection company. Right now, how about a win-win? Car Shield is a win-win. They helped me get back on the track, back out moving when I was in a pinch. And I tell you what, they're going to make sure that you're not on the hook to pay thousands. Get coverage today and see why Car Shield cars go further. Visit carshield.com/Benton and save 10%. Carshield/Benton and save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let us take a peek and find out what's trending. China. Hypersonic launch. They're saying that altered the global arms race. Nuclear-capable missiles circuit the entire Earth, so it went all around. Even though the Earth is flat, according to some. It went around that. So it'd be like going around your table at home, your dining table. At low orbit before descending on its target. It missed its target by 20 miles. People are asking the question, how did they do this? Probably because it was stuff that we have that they stole. That's not very nice. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but they've done that before. War criminal is trending because what did I say earlier? Colin Powell died. So, and what did I say? People will start tweeting out horrible things. I once again reminding you that you do not have to say nice things about a war criminal when they die. We're going to get a lot of that today. And then everybody else will run out there and go, he was a wonderful man. He was a man. And he was a good man. And you got to take in the whole body of work. People don't do that. It's about getting clicks and likes and stuff like that. Colin Powell, also trending, died at the age of 84 today. Walter Reed. He had multiple myeloma, they're now saying. So he was already in a situation where his immune system was completely suppressed and it struggled. So when he caught COVID, it was kind of like the end of everything. But he passed away at age 84. Number one trending thing. Yesterday, lots of football. Seahawks lost yesterday. TJ Watt, a beast with the strip sack. Just fantastic game. Chiefs dominate second half. First half, they didn't look dominating. I'm going to tell you that right now. They did not. They did not. Jaguars got a win. Ravens, huge win. Packers. I watched the Packers Bears game because I just wanted to see, how good is Fields, Justin Fields, and it's hard to tell. He's a young quarterback. Does he have a ton around him? Probably not. But when Aaron Rodgers scored that touchdown when he ran in, when he gets pushed and he kind of slides, and as he slides, he looks up and he does his Aaron Rodgers thing, where like he grabs like he's got a super belt or what around his name, and he screams at all the fans. He goes, "I own you!" in Chicago. I thought, oh, that's nice. That's nice. You're a nice person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Supply chain still an absolute nightmare, and a nightmare for a lot of reasons, but for many as we head into the season, which is the season.
Supply chain issues are hitting retailers and consumers directly, sparking fears for holiday shopping. Heather Rasmussen, owner of Pixie Toys, feels prepared for the holiday season, but said she's already had parents shop for Christmas.
As a parent, I would say don't panic buy, but just make sure that you're prepared with everything that you need.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you have to do. You see something you think that you might want to get the kids, this is the time. Get them early, which normally they talk about, but when you think about the fact that usually right around Halloween, it really starts to ramp up, and it is going to. I went over this weekend. I went into a couple stores, and some of the things I like were gone. Just regular food items. I was like, ooh, yeah. Bare shelves Biden was trending. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A trusted messenger at the critical hinge of his life. when as Secretary of State, he was assigned by President George W. Bush to go to the United Nations and make the case for war against Saddam Hussein in Iraq, the invasion of Iraq, a case that we now know was built on weak intelligence and specious, almost dishonest interpretations of that intelligence, and it wounded his career and it wounded him personally. But the full story is a great American story of a man of character and great intelligence who served this country in so many ways.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it. When you look at human beings, you must look at everything. We don't do that now. We take somebody who is arguably just a good person, and they'll make a mistake in life. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a tweet, something they said 28 years ago, whatever it is. And we hold them in today's world as that's who they are for their entire lives. Nothing else they've ever did before or after will be anything other than who they were. Based on the intelligence that he had coming in from all of our organizations, not just ours, but you're talking about foreign intelligence and everything, they made the case to go into Iraq. And it was a flawed case, to say the least. But he himself and the journey he took was incredible.
His life's journey is a great American journey, right? The son of Jamaican immigrants in New York. He went to City College of New York, entered the Army through the Reserve Officer Training Corps, ROTC, and then rose all the way to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was a very intelligent man. He was a man of character.
Yeah, he was. He was absolutely a man of character. Later on in life, he left GOP. He did not like Trump. I think we all knew that.
He was a prominent Republican figure who then just as prominently left the party and felt that the Republican Party no longer represented what he thought it had represented. And even after he left office, he was somebody that was always sought after for comments on whatever the major issue was, and he chose his moments carefully. And when he came out, you leaned in. You wanted to hear what he had to say. You wanted to hear what his assessment was.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. And I think they valued that because I think they valued the fact that I think he was going to tell you the truth. And in a day and age where truth doesn't sell, I want you guys to understand that. Truth does not sell. We live in a world where truth matters very little. What matters is conflict. Truth doesn't move people to react. Truth doesn't move really much of anything. The chaos of it and how you present certain things matters more than anything else. How can I dress up a story that gets people emotional? We'll bury the lead in the way down. We'll bury the truth potentially in the way down, but we're not going to lead with it. We need the conflict to get people interested. How do we do that? How do we get conflict? That's what matters. I have friends who are journalists. They get paid no longer by salary. They get paid per click. They get paid per shares. They get paid for how many times that thing's read. That's how they're getting paid. Well, the who, what, when, how, and why doesn't matter. What matters is that all of the ancillary thing around there and just paint it up as crazy as possible at times to get people to see, oh, look at this or that. Tell a portion of it. And now more than ever, what matters for so many people is it's my truth. That's what matters. This is my truth. Jon Stewart was on with, I think it was Jake Tapper. They were talking about like what matters and what doesn't matter anymore. And he kind of took them to task about, you take something that's crazy and then you run with it because, well, that's what you do.
And so everybody wants to talk about, like that question you said about gender neutral. I can't remember what you said, gender neutral
sections in toy stores. It's a law that the governor just passed and signed into law.
But honestly, like that law, like who gives like do you know what I mean? Like in terms of the importance of the running of California, yeah, it's a law. Who's it really going to impact? It reminds me of, somebody said to me that they were upset the other day that things had gotten so out of hand. Oh, Demi Lovato wanted to be referred to as they. That was the pronoun that Demi Lovato wanted to use. And this person went, this is just, it's out of hand. And I said, well, I've got really good news for you then. You don't know Demi Lovato. So you're never going to have to really be in this situation.
All right, here's the truth. You probably don't know Demi Lovato. The truth is, California, you've got other things that are more pressing than gender-neutral toy aisles. So why don't we focus a little bit more on the homeless crisis, the fact that there is not enough homes for people, period, rising gas prices, things of this nature that you need to address more than some of this insanity because you feel that the wokeness is going to get you there. But he's right about Demi Lovato. But see, nobody wants to talk about, like, supply chain's not fun. You ever see people talk about supply chain? Well, what's really going on in the supply chain is we've had some interesting situations, first of all, with chip makers, and then from chip makers over there, it is causing the delay into the shipping, and that's why it takes 12 months to get yourself a new, refrigerator. And you're like, oh, God, this is fantastic. And that's not even that fun. With a colder than normal winter last year, we've had many issues that have caused us to have produce less poultry than we wanted. And because of that poultry that is currently out there, we also don't have enough people to essentially kill and pick all the feathers. It's just like, okay. It's not fun. But it matters when you go to the store, like I said a little earlier. First time in I don't know how long where I went to a store and stuff that I have no problem getting that is not something that's outrageous, that there's a run on. I'm not trying to get a PS5 or anything. It wasn't available. And I was like, oh. There were a lot of shelves that it wasn't there. Like, it's bare. And these are not shelves. Again, this is not toy time, Christmas time yet. This is just run-of-the-mill stuff. Run-of-the-mill things. That adds up for people. But why the Demi Lovato thing matters is in real world is because, which CNN doesn't talk about, is because the younger generation is coming out. To the younger generation, being recognized as their pronoun is really important. In fact, it's more important to them than whether or not they do a good job, which is also a hot mess. But you have to be aware of these things. You have to have an understanding of what's going on. People don't. They don't because they're not interested in that. Because the more interesting thing is, look at the chaos, look at the craziness, look at the lunacy. That matters the most. Look at that. Look at the chaos. Ooh. Even today I said it. It's going to be out there. Sooner rather than later, it's going to be out there. Somebody's going to treat what a war criminal he was, and you don't have to like him. And then some people will call that person a hero, and then other people are going to call that person a horrible person for saying stuff like that. And you just sit there and go, yeah. Everybody's a critic. That's it. Everybody's a critic. You tell somebody, and I told my uncle this the other day, and he was like, I never even thought of that. I said, Paul, when's the last time you left on Yelp somebody who did a really good job, a great review? He goes, no, I don't know. But the night before, I went to this Korean place, and it was awful, and I left them a horrible review. And then 2 days ago, I went to the dentist, and they had me come in and everything. They said, oh, your insurance doesn't work. And then so we had to cancel your appointment. And then he goes, you guys canceled my appointment. I handed you my insurance, and rather than call everything that was on here, you didn't call the health insurance or the dental insurance. You called the eye insurance. He goes, I left them a bad review. And I go, if it was good, he goes, I wouldn't even have talked about it. Exactly. Because it is easier to be angry, and the emotion's easier to get people riled up about than other emotions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. I love it. SCOTUS. You guys remember SCOTUS? Right? So they got a bunch of big things in front of them right now. I saw Breyer out there this week talking about some of the stuff they go through. You know, some of the late night stuff. They get together around the table like they're, it's King Arthur. They go over stuff. But one of the things that I said Trump will be remembered for is the fact that you look at that court right now, and the balance is tipped. Even if Chief Justice Roberts lands half the time on the left side of the aisle, as some people would say, the reality is it's tipped 6-3 or 5.5 to 4.5, whatever you want to say. So the whole thought was, well, let's court pack. We're just going to get all the judges we can. We'll just pack those courts. Biden's like, we're not going to do that. And it's like, well, maybe we should set up something like a commission, take a look and see if that's even feasible.
President Biden's Supreme Court Commission was established in April to explore possible changes to the nation's highest court, including expanding the number of justices and instituting term limits. With the 6-3 conservative majority on the court and big cases looming on abortion and gun rights, the president's been under pressure from some Democrats to support taking action to transform the court. The commission today will release its initial findings and hold a public meeting on Friday.
Yeah, and they did. And guess what? Not a lot of people paid attention to it. They said it's not really good to pack the courts. It's not really good to expand the courts. It's not really good to do a lot of these things. It's probably best to leave it like it is, but they did favor term limits, and I have zero problems with that. No court packing, but term limits. I don't think too many people would find that to be awful. Like, term limits would be fair. I don't know why it's a lifetime membership, but I would have zero problems with term limits. Some people, might say, well, we got a 6-3 lead. Of course we... No, I think at the end of the day, I think the best thing is looking at things like term limits. Shouldn't be forever. It shouldn't be. It's crazy, though, right? Like, you get a gig and you get a forever. I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's a great thing, right? Like, you choose when you want to leave. How neat would that have been? Like, if you said today you like your job, it's your passion, it's all that stuff, and your work came to you and said, you can have this job forever. Even if you start to lose it a little bit, you start to go a little sideways, you be 92, you still get this gig. How many people turn that down if you liked your gig? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your getter. Twitter and getter. My Pillow has a lot of good stuff. They got the My Slippers. My Slippers are amazing. And it's the sole, to me, that's incredible. You get 50% off right now. Durable, all day, indoor, outdoor. Ooh. Leather suede, faux fur linings, moccasin and slip-on style. And if I can say moccasin, I just did. Tons of different colors, 60-day money-back guarantee. But it's the 3-tiered cushioning system. My Pillow patented fill, comfort memory foam, patented impact gel, made from soybeans in the U.S. If you're looking for great Christmas gifts, My Pillow's got everything you need. I don't really think they're worried too much about the supply chain because made right here in the United States of America. So 50% off right now. My Slippers. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square, enter promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. Enter that code Benson. Check out all the deep discounts on the My Pillows, the Giza Dream Sheets, the towels, the mattress topper, everything in between, and grab these My Slippers 50% off. 50% off with promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
I love my animals, but would I?
Tony Whitman was so desperate to get his cat back from the local animal shelter, the father of 3 dressed for battle, arming himself with a fake assault rifle before storming the lost dog's home at Cranbourne West. Today, the 45-year-old admitted he took things way too far. I plead guilty, Your Honour. During the bizarre incident in January, Whitman ambushed a female worker and held her at gunpoint. He tied her up and demanded she tell him where the cats were being kept. Police say the accused stated in an aggressive aggressive manner. If you do as I say and listen to me, I won't shoot you. Whitman fled before the ranger called for help, but returned to the shelter the next day, keeping his original appointment that he'd made to pick up his pet. Tony Whitman blamed his crimes on his PTSD from his military service and said he relied on his cat for emotional support. Today, in a plea deal with prosecutors, 16 charges against him were dropped. He'll be sentenced in the county court next year. Eliza Rugg, 9 News.
Yep. Thanks, Eliza. Appreciate that. So, first of all, you're getting your cat back the next day. Okay? You're getting it back the next day. But instead, you decide to go catbo. Little Rambo action, right? So he put on the full fatigues. Everything. Did the whole 9 yards to get his cat back. Apparently the gun was real at one time. But no longer working. And the fact that you went back to get it the next day. Maybe the cat doesn't want to be back with you. It's like, hey, guys, I got to be honest with you guys. Like, yes, got to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I want to be back meow with this guy. He's crazy, meow. That guy's nuts, eh? Yeah. He's a bit of a plonker, nah? Well, nuts. He's a nutter. I don't think that's very nice. I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe, you're going to say no. He'll face, I love my animals, but I don't know if I'm storming something to get him back. I love my animals, but I just don't see myself picking up the mantle of Rambo and Brian from Taken to go, and storm into the local vet place like they don't know who you are. Everything's chipped. It's kind of odd. You sure it was the guy that stole a specific cat? Yep. You sure? Yeah, we got his address? We do. Unless you've moved. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Supply chain still a big deal.
Big retail CEOs are now saying they could run out of some of their best-selling items weeks before the holidays. And the CEO of the toy maker Basic Fun, he says the Tonka trucks and Care Bears that his company makes, they are stuck in ports, on railways across the Midwest, and on trucks on the highways.
Yeah. Trucks on the highways are doing everything they can to try to get this thing improved. And I think over the next 5 to 7 weeks or so it will. But I think that final crunch is going to be massive as we head into the last couple weeks of the holiday season. The kind of thing that we don't normally see, where people are just be desperate to get stuff. But I think we'll get it somewhat done. But it has been a nightmare. Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Colin Powell was a professional soldier for 35 years, rising to the rank of 4-star general. He served as national security advisor to President Reagan.
So the last year and a half of my time in the White House was with President Reagan. Became an extremely close and strong relationship.
Then, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under President Bush, he oversaw Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
We have not been targeting Mr. Saddam Hussein. The purpose of our bombing facilities in the area of Baghdad is essentially to go after the command and control.
Powell Doctrine called for clear political objectives and popular support for military operations, along with decisive and overwhelming force. President George W. Bush named Powell Secretary of State.
Our alliances are as strong now as they ever have been, and they are as needed now as they ever have been.
Powell's 2003 speech at the United Nations helped garner support for the U.S. war in Iraq.
Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction.
Earlier this year, Powell called the speech a great intelligence failure. Powell was born in New York in 1937 and raised in the South Bronx by Jamaican parents. He died of complications from COVID-19, though he was fully vaccinated. In a statement, his family called Powell a remarkable and loving husband, father, grandfather, and a great American.
Yes, it was all those things. Did he make a Gravis heir along with our intelligence agencies, as well as several other intelligence agencies around the globe? Absolutely. Did it follow him around and haunt him? It did. But when we look at one portion of somebody's life, well, Chad, but so many people died. It bothered him to no end. You know, when he served in Vietnam, and he said, and he had to do, you know, on top of all the stuff that he did there, he also, when they asked him about his service in Vietnam, and he did a full report and laid it all out. And the thing he said, he talked about, was the fact that leadership from all the way to the top down was a mess. It was a mess. And that Powell doctrine about, you know, what is our end game? Because you look at politics nowadays, but you look at where we were in Afghanistan. What was the end game? Was there an end game? No. Because in politics, unlike life, politics is, you know, there's no need for solutions, right? There's no need for solutions. Solutions don't pay the bills. Problems pay the bills. Where in private world, how do they tell you if you want to get rich, what do? You find a problem that many people have. And in finding that problem, you come up with a solution, and voila, you're rich. You're successful. In politics, when you find a solution, you've pissed everybody off because you can't raise money on the problem. You can't fight about the problem. You can't raise your profile on the problem. And that's not good. It's not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Again, Colin Powell died today, 84 years old. He had multiple myeloma, blood cancer that he had for a while that suppresses the immune system. So while COVID was an issue, the reality is at 84 he had struggled with many other things. And this will be the battle today. People are going to come out and go, see what happens when you get vaccinated? You're like, shut up. Welcome to the world of reality. That's not it. The flu could have killed him. 84, multiple myeloma, lived a good life. COVID definitely pushed him over. But the reality is there was a lot at play here. So even being vaccinated, but people will come out and say this is why vaccine probably killed him. And they're going to come up with something. And you're going to get the people out there going to tweet today about what a horrible human being he is and how he's a war criminal. This is where we are. We fight and we fight and we continue to fight because we're not interested in anything other than arguing because it pays the bills for a lot of people. Television, it pays the bills. Radio in many cases. You know, I didn't want to be a host that talked about hate because I'm not really into it. I got other things going on. I had a great life, great wife, great family, great kids. I enjoy myself. I work really hard. I do a lot of that stuff. But the reality is I don't want to build my life around it. I don't hate anybody. There are a lot of people out there that hate me. I'm always shocked. There's a lot of people out there that hate, but I just couldn't get into it. But we see it all too often. And nobody talks about things that matter. Nobody talks about the stuff that really matters. What is the issue? You know, when people talk about what matters, Jon Stewart was on with Jake Tapper, and I keep going back to this because I find it to be fascinating, but he's absolutely right in a lot of ways.
And so everybody wants to talk about, like that question you said about gender neutral, I can't remember what you said, gender neutral
sections in toy stores. It's a law that the governor just passed and signed into law.
But honestly, like that law, like who gives like it's, do you know what I mean? Like in terms of the importance of the running of California, yeah, it's a law. Who's it really going to impact? It reminds me of.
Yeah, who's it really going to impact? Well, it will impact you in some ways, But it's not about the law. If you really want to get into it, as far as the gender neutral, that's just the fight where the right and the left can go, you're horrible. Look how crazy this is. Do I find it to be ridiculous? Of course. California, you've got bigger fish to fry. You have huge fish to fry. What's going on over there right now with mandates? What's going on right now with the fact that 40% of your state workers are not vaccinated? What's that going to do if you hold this massive, we're going to fire everybody? Are you going to do that? You've got massive amounts of issues with the homeless crisis going on there. You have taxes through the roof. You are top heavy in the world of taxes. Meaning, I think if about 500 people that essentially supports a good portion of California, those 500 people and corporations. You have so many issues right now. But for some, this matters. For some, this is a huge deal. It's silly, and yes, now, younger generation, out and about, working, you're going to have to, pronouns is important to them. And then you start telling them, hey, you know what, in real life, pronouns aren't as important as you think they are. You may think they're super uber important, but the reality is you get out in life and you have a job. And your job is to do A, B, and C. And doing A, B, and C matters more because that's what people are asking you to do because they're paying you money. And to hyper-focus on certain things, well, that's not going to help you. But for some, it matters. And for people out there who want to argue and fight, it's a big deal. It is. And partially because it's like anything. You ever watch and I see it, right? Like I'll go watch a movie that, and I was telling my wife that looking at some of the stuff that's out there, like you go watch a movie and it gets this huge, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And you're like, that was awful. Yeah, well, these people think it's really good. Then you go watch another show, like a movie, and you're like, man, that's huge, and I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Well, we like stuff that's easy and fun. That's what we like. We don't want it to be too complicated. We don't really care why we can't get our toys. We care about the fact that we can't get our toys. We don't care that there are issues with the supply chain. We don't care about things like farm issues.
Some suppliers are not even quoting prices because they're unsure that their supply chains will be able to fulfill, especially fertilizer type supplies.
Yeah, that's for farms. They don't even know if they're going to be able to do certain stuff because they can't get a hold of fertilizer. We don't care about the fact that the ships aren't getting unloaded as fast as possible. I read that this weekend. So the truckers are blaming this on the crane operators who make $250,000 a year. You heard me right. $250,000 a year. My buddy's a crane operator. Him and his dad are killing it. They've been killing it for years. Years. But there's only so much they can do. It's not like there's 500 crane operators. There's very few that are operating said cranes. But they're blaming it on that. And then they're blaming it on the ships not coming in. And then they're blaming it on the fact that the supply chain's so broken further on down the line that getting this stuff takes a while. By the time we get here, there's people don't care. That's not interesting. They want to know who to blame it on. And that's what matters. And right now, the blame's landing at the feet of this president and his administration. At the end of the day, they're looking around going, you know what? COVID's still a bit of a mess. And, we got all of our stuff when Trump's here, and I wasn't paying $8 for gas. $8, I'm kidding. Although I will say, jumped 20 cents overnight here. Hey, Phil, what was gas like in Florida? Did you see?
$3.19.
What is it like where you are out there?
I can get it for about $2.98 if I'm lucky.
Yeah. It was $3.09 on Saturday, and it was $3.29 this morning. And that's at a truck stop. So the 4 truck stops where I'm at, or 3 truck stops, they're usually 20 to 30 cents cheaper than other places because obviously there's plenty of trucks cruising through there. But, man, that is... people don't care why. They want to know, how do I get it cheaper? why isn't it cheaper? In the sense of, I don't care why it's not cheaper. You tell me, why did the last guy get it cheaper and this guy didn't? Tell me how I can get it cheaper. Where do I have to go? Your fault. Even if they had nothing to do with it and can control very little of it. It's your fault. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Car Shield. Car Shield, baby. So here's a lose-lose situation. How many of you have been in this situation? I've been there. Get a few bucks in the bank. You're feeling okay. Your car's running. You think fine. Bing! Check engine light comes on. Something starts to sputter. Next thing you know, you feel your transmission slipping. You take it in. All of that money you've been saving up, gone. Now, you're stoked that you have it, but all of a sudden you're losing time. You're losing money. It's getting more expensive, and you're beyond frustrated. Well, you can do that, or you can get Car Shield. Car Shield's helped me save money, help my family save money, help you save money. With Car Shield, they got incredible administrators. They make everything completely super easy. You can save thousands of dollars with Car Shield. And thanks to my protection plan, I don't worry about the what ifs. I don't worry about expensive repairs. I worry about none of that because I know I have Car Shield. I also have trip reimbursement, rental coverage, and roadside assistance. So whether I'm driving from here or across the country, I tend to drive to California a lot. Guess what happens there? I'm stoked because, yeah, kids, Car Shield. Make sure I'm taken care of. They do. So if something happens, I've got easy and ready to go roadside assistance. Right now, you can save big time with Car Shield. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. So what's that make them? A number one auto protection company in America. Car Shield is a win-win. So here's what I want you to do today, right now. Protect yourself from being on the hook for thousands. Get coverage today. See why Car Shield cars go further. CarShield.com/Benson saves you 10%. CarShield.com/Benson saves you 10%. Grab your Car Shield right now. CarShield.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
We watch closely China's development of armament and advanced capabilities and systems that will only increase tensions in the region.
Yeah, they fired a supersonic missile. Went around the Earth. All the way around. Orbited. It was one of the headlines. It's like, American intelligence is shaken. Really? No, it makes good the headline. Do we have really no idea whatsoever what was going on potentially? Now, maybe their firing of it may have been a surprise. Oh, we didn't think we were going to fire it there. But to think that we don't have an understanding or a knowledge of potentially what they're working on, then we're not doing our job. Right? We're not. But it goes back to things that we've talked about. What's important? China, let me tell you what China wants to do. Win. They care about nothing else other than winning. They want to win. Their goal is to win. They're here to win, period. And they're going to continue to push forward. They're going to continue to do the things they do. Why we're arguing, I mean, and I go back to this. Think about us in today's world. We are so in need of something to be angry at. We make stuff up. Right? We make stuff like we got to be angry about something. What is it that we have to be angry? Don't know. I mean, I feel like we should be angry about something. So we come up with something to be mad at. China is about winning. China is about continuing to push the envelope. China is about continuing to be China in so many ways. They're going to continue to do that. They fired something off that's supersonic. Not a shocker. Not a shocker. But does that mean that because I read somewhere last week another one of those headline grabbers, which was, if I'm right, what did it say? Something about China's already won. I'm like, really? It's meant to grab the headlines. It's not meant to be real. Won what? What have they won? Out of curiosity. Is there something I didn't know that they won? Was there a contest going on? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Do I think they've won? No, I don't. But do I think that we need to pay more attention in certain situations when it comes to China? Yes. Do I think this administration is not really on top of things they need to be on top of, especially when it comes to stuff like this? Absolutely. And when you look at this, and I'm still waiting for some sort of move that they're going to make when it comes to Taiwan, or, Chinese Taipei. I'm going to go Taiwan. When that happens, how does not only us, but the rest of the world react? 323-538-2423. It's Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Halloween, the holidays, mandates, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
His family said the former Joint Chiefs Chairman and Secretary of State died of complications from COVID-19. Powell had been fully vaccinated, the family said, as they announced, "We have lost a remarkable and loving husband, father, and grandfather, and a great American." Powell spent 4 decades in service to the country. His 2003 speech at the United Nations helped move the U.S. toward war in Iraq. Powell later called the speech a great intelligence failure.
Yeah, it was. He was a great man, and it was something that was part of his life, and he regretted it. It wasn't just him. I think a lot of people think it was just him, right? Like he was the only one. The beauty of being a part of the intelligence community is you're listened to, but you're never really seen, and there's not a lot of accountability. And it's also easy to blame them on stuff that may be your gaffe, where you go, we got bad intelligence. He was a great leader. He was absolutely a phenomenal leader. And his story is truly an American story. From where he started with nothing to where he ended up. The fact that both sides of the aisle seem to not only like him, but respect him, even though at times their politics were different.
His life's journey is a great American journey, right? The son of Jamaican immigrants in New York. He went to City College of New York, entered the Army through the Reserve Officer Training Corps, ROTC, and then rose all the way to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was a very intelligent man. He was a man of character.
Yeah. Served several presidents. And truly was, I think, a brilliant man. And again, you go back to what I'm already seeing trending is war criminal and all that kind of stuff. And you just shake your head because people are going to be that way, because the louder you shout, the better it is for you to get noticed. And here's the thing. So people will yell war criminal. Then other people will come out and say you're an awful person. And then it'll be about the fight and not the man. Did he have issues? Yes, he was eventually, at the end of the day, all of this stuff lands on him, right? All of this stuff lands on him. As far as the to go, not go, he went and made the pitch to the world about Iraq. But it wasn't just singularly him. But that's what some people remember him for. War criminal. War criminal. That's all he is. Look at the body of work. And I will say he did far more things that were positive than negative. And yes, Iraq was a giant mistake. But when you play the kind of games, if you will, using a metaphor, play the kind of games they do, the stakes are a bit higher than for a lot of other people that will never lead in anything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love seeing and hearing from every single one of you. The holidays are here. First and foremost, to trick-or-treat or not to trick-or-treat.
With trick-or-treating and the holidays right around the corner, Dr. Fauci urging everyone who's eligible to get vaccinated.
If you're vaccinated and your family members are vaccinated, you can enjoy Halloween, trick-or-treating, and certainly Thanksgiving with your family and Christmas with your families.
But still, there are approximately 66 million unvaccinated Americans, and vaccine mandates continue to cause controversy. The Seattle Police Department, already understaffed, could lose more officers once a vaccine requirement goes into effect Monday.
Absolutely. That is a huge possibility. Issues in Illinois.
This standoff appears to be far from over with no immediate solution in sight. The department issuing a memo reminding those officers who do not comply that they could lose their jobs.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Then you look over there and then you've got what's going on in California. And California, as we talked about, has a lot of different things happening. You have tons of people that are unvaccinated, right? So from what I understand, about 40%, give or take a little bit, are unvaccinated as far as state health workers go and workers themselves. So when you Highway Patrol, California Highway Patrol, it's not several of the largest departments, 52%, it's only half of the Highway Patrol, 60% of the Department of Motor Vehicles, 60% of prison employees. Caltrans has the highest rate with 70% of its employees vaccinated. And then you've got the school issue, and the protests are going to come with that, and the mandates.
In California, where Governor Newsom issued a vaccine mandate for children in schools that will likely not go into effect until 2022, some parents are planning to keep their kids home today in protest.
We want them to know that we are serious.
All this as newly released numbers from the CDC show that back in August, the unvaccinated were 11 times more likely to die from COVID during the Delta surge than those who were vaccinated.
Not a shocker. That should not be a shock. That should not be this is my shocked face. It should be a shocker to anybody. It shouldn't. It's a shot. It works in keeping you alive. It will, more often than not, stop you from catching it, but it is not a 100%. And depending on what you've got, whether it's Moderna, it's J&J, and over the weekend, one of the things that we're talking about with J&J is the fact that they should probably have had you get the shot 2 months after you got the first shot. The whole thought process with J&J was, hey, you get, just one and done. And that's what people want. But yes, the shot is going to protect you, especially if you're unhealthy. Colin Powell died. He got vaccinated, but he also had cancer. Multiple myeloma. He'd been battling it for a while. He had a few comorbidities, and he was 84 years old. So his immune system was already suppressed. But if you're California, you're looking at 40% potentially of your workers, your state employees, unvaccinated. And here's the problem. By the way, there's a lot of teachers in California that are not vaccinated. Here's the issue that they're going to have. Their unions are powerful, and they don't want to turn on their members. So it's a fine line here. But you're going to see this in several different places across the country. Do I think there should be mandates? No. I think freedom is a wonderful thing, and I think you should have the opportunity to choose. But I also think that if you sit back and you do the math, you'll say, hey, you know what? This is better than that. But I respect everybody's decision. I got no problems with the decision you've made. I made my decision. I went and got the shots. I've also had the thing first. So I guess I'm doubly protected, according to whatever studies that's out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do love hearing from everybody. We've got issues with the supply chain. Like I said this weekend, I was shocked. I went into a couple places, where I noticed, wow, there are things missing. There are some shelves that are empty. Things that are not Christmas-timey, Thanksgiving-y, even, it's just, there's stuff that is gone. And it's the supply chain. We went in there like, we don't have any straws. We got breakfast. It was like, we don't have any straws. I'm like, what? Tried to order onion rings at this place there. We don't have onion rings. Why? Well, we haven't got any of the stuff that we need to make them right now. I'm like, ooh. So this is real.
LL Bean, known for its outdoor gear, is revamping its message to shoppers.
We know we're going to be running out, and we're not sure exactly when things are coming in.
Just as interest spiked in outdoor activities through the pandemic, CEO Stephen Smith explains the containers to ship that gear got more expensive.
We have seen gear to be particularly difficult. That's camping and hiking gear.
Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg cautioning there's a long road ahead to solve these supply chain problems.
Yeah, and Pete Buttigieg is, quite frankly, while he's talking about all the stuff that needs to get done, I had real issues with him last week. I get that they're celebrating the fact that you have a new child. Congratulations. That's fantastic. This job isn't the job where you go, I'm going to take some time off. Like that. Do I think he was only doing that? No, I think he was answering some calls and doing some stuff and spending time with his child. That's fantastic. I think 8 months ago, I don't think it would have been a big deal. It's a big deal now. It is a big deal now. And at some point in time, you've got to get stuff fixed. You're part of the administration.
Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo expects some improvement by Christmas.
We are going to fix it. It's just, going to take a little time.
Raimondo highlighting recent steps taken by the Biden administration to address the bottlenecks, including opening the port of Los Angeles 24/7. But some experts say the problems will have far-reaching effects, possibly lasting through next year.
Yeah. And you're the transportation secretary. And while they're celebrating you having paid time off and everybody should have that, that's not the job you signed up for. I'll let you know this. My little one was born 3 years ago. She was born in the middle of the night. Boom. Next day I was here. Like 5, 6, 7 hours after she was born. I had a job to do. I came and did it. Didn't know what was going to happen. And my job, to be honest with you, I love doing it, but it's not as important as the transportation secretary in the time of massive problems when it comes to supply chains. And a lot of that has to do with transportation. So, I think it's fair to say, you need to do some more. And I saw him out in a few different places, but you should have been in L.A. meeting with the unions. You should have been in L.A. meeting with not just the unions at the longshoremen, but also you should have been meeting with the when it comes to the trucking side of it, because I know they're doing everything they can now to try to get people their license a little bit easier, which should also go, oh, that's good, and at the same time should go, oh, I don't know about that. I'm thinking maybe no. I'm thinking maybe we should take a deep breath on maybe sure everybody shouldn't get a license. And then you've got the other side of stuff, which is workers. It's that time of year where workers are looking for work, you would think. But no matter what kind of blitz is going on hiring-wise, they're having a tough time.
Just about every large retailer says it needs help this holiday season. Macy's needs around 76,000 seasonal workers, Target around 100,000. Amazon now announcing it needs to hire around 150,000 seasonal workers full and part-time. And in a year when finding labor is so tough, it's sweetening the deal, offering sign-on bonuses of up to $3,000. A pay is $18 an hour with a $3 per hour bonus for certain shifts.
Yeah. What are you going to get that? I don't think you're going to get it everywhere. I don't. I think you're going to be a lot of people short. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, Raycon, best earbuds around. You will love your Raycons. Love my Raycons. First of all, noise isolating fit, second to none. Secondly, design. Sleek, stylish, no stems, no wires. An amazing charging case that is truly incredible because you have 4 full charges. 4 full charges before you have to plug it back in and charge it up. They also have wireless charging capabilities. You have the best sound quality because of the noise isolating fit. 3 new incredible ways to control the sound, which is awesome. And you put all that together, you think to yourself, what's this going to cost me? So inexpensive. So inexpensive compared to it's going to be under $70. Yeah, that's right. 45-day happiness guarantee. Right now, get your Raycons. Save big just in time for the holidays. No supply chain issues here. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Saves you big time, an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Saves you 15%. Grab your Raycons right now. 45-day happiness guarantee. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter, your Instagram. Check out the Facebook as well. And the Getter. This is the Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, man! Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Myers is alive. Halloween Kills delivered a better than expected $50.35 million debut.
We fight.
That's not only good enough to grab first place from No Time to Die, it's both the best horror film debut and R-rated movie debut of the pandemic era.
A most unspeakable charge has been brought against you.
It's a disappointing 5th place bow for the all-star medieval drama The Last Duel. Just $4.8 million there.
I spoke the truth.
Yeah, because it's awful. I didn't see it, but I'm just sitting there going, really? Like, what did I read this weekend? This shows that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck should never, ever write a movie together. It's like you had that one, boom, just lightning in a bottle. That's it. Celebrate it. If it's going to be about Boston, okay. But outside of that, But Halloween Kills exactly is what it did. $50.4 million. And think about this. Think about this. It was also on, was it Paramount Plus or Peacock or one or both? So it was streaming at home as well as in the theater. So when you see some of these other things, like you're not getting the Bond movie at home. You're not getting Carnage at home. This was streaming in both ways, and it still kicked ass. And I'm sure on a budget that was probably no more than 25, 30 million, maybe 40 million. 20 million was the budget for the movie. That is insane. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Over the weekend, I watched a football. Now, I know, Producer Phil, you could not watch football because you were very, very busy traveling out to beautiful Orlando, and you tried to watch football. But for me, I did watch football. I had my picks. Tell you guys, I'm on fire right now. Doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Had the Bucs Thursday night. Had the Jags. I picked the Jags to get their first win. I lost. The Panthers almost got a victory after sucking for most of the game. Then I got the Ravens, Rams, Colts, Chiefs, Packers, Bengals. I lost the Browns. I thought the Browns were going to do better at home. Cowboys, Raiders, Steelers. Tonight I have the Bills. I lost 2. I'm 11-2 this week. So far, I'm 62-31. That's pretty damn good. I was pretty stoked. Not going to lie to you. Not going to lie to you. Just got to throw some money out there. It's fun watching football over the weekend. A little college football. Enjoyed that. But yesterday, NFL was really good. Cowboys looked the real deal. They do. They look the real deal. So does Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They took apart the Chargers. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Check out Getter, Gettr. We're also there as well. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.